So, let's move on to the fifth topic, biopsychosocial theories of crime causation. First is biopsychosocial model of crime causation. So, it is an integration or combination of both bio, psycho, and the socio. Bio examines aspect of biology that influence health like brain changes, genetics, or functioning of major body organs. So, bio, life. So, it's more on the life of the of an individual, our body, our changes of the body, biology. The psycho examines psychological components, things like thoughts, emotions, or behaviors. Our psycho, how we are undergo into different emotions or behaviors, how we behave. And the socio examines social factors that might influence the health of an individual, things like our interactions with others, our culture, our economic status, like how we interact with other people, that might influence our health also. So, next is moral insanity and criminal responsibility. Moral insanity is used to describe persons who were normal in all aspects. Normal daw ang moral insanity. While ang criminal responsibility, also known as the insanity defense, refers to the time of the alleged offense and more specifically asks the question whether the defendant had the mental capacity to distinguish between right and wrong. So this time, kaning criminal responsibility, if mapatunayan sa psychologist nga ang isa ka offender na ay mental illness, so ma-acquit dayon ang offender because naa siya mental disorder. Diferensya, defect. This was created by Isaac Ray and Henry Maudsley. So next is premenstrual syndrome. So kaning kasagara ning premenstrual syndrome, most likely gaka bati ani mga girls, mga women na ay mga certain feelings, mga emotions maga-trigger ang amuang ato ang hormones nga magresulta sa aggressive behavior nga mag-apekto ang ato ang antisocial behavior also. So, nag-involve diri ang female sex hormones. Like, why some female are more likely to commit crimes or suicide and be aggressive. Nagi mga babae kay, nagi mga women nga, grabe ka-trigger ang ilahang menstrual nila. Nagi mga, naagid siguro yung gakaagi ani nga mga tao. Nga, because of that certain aggressive behavior, makakommit sila og illegal nga behavior or aggressive behavior. So this was developed by Katharina Dorothea Dalton and Diana Fishbein. So let's move on to battered child syndrome. This type of syndrome does not establish the culpability of any particular person. Rather, it simply indicates that a child found with serious repeated injuries has not suffered those injuries by accidental. So, dili daw kuno accidental, dili daw kuno through accident ra ang repeated injuries nga na experience sa bata. But, they found out that it was through what? Tinuyuan sa mga ginikanan. It is also a medical diagnosis based on evidence indicating that the child has been subjected to a pattern of a serious unexplained abuse. Abuso sa mga bata. So, natay VAUSI, Violence Against Women and Children. So, ang mga bata naka-experience og mga serious and unexplained abuse. So, there are supporting evidence nga mag-prove nga ang bata gikan sa abusive pattern. So this was developed by Dr. Henry Kempe. So let's move on to battered woman syndrome. So earlier battered children syndrome. So kani battered woman is a term of psychology that is used to describe women who are stuck with in or have recently left violent relationship characterized by the cycle of violence, and helps to clarify domestic violence, and says that abuse tends to occur according to a particular basic pattern stages, which are tension, violent incident, and honeymoon or loving contagion stage. So, diri na dayon ang the cycle of violence emphasizes physical violence, but physical abuse rarely occurs without psychological abuse. Dili lang daw kuno siya physical but also psychological abuse sa mga woman. But this particular syndrome has basic patterns, which are tension between the pair. During this tension building stage, relatively minor incidents increase the tension in the relationship. So, mga minor away nga magka-create og tension nga nung ang babae o ang lalaki mag-confrontation. So, there are tension, maybe ang isa sa ilaha naka-feel og jealous. So, dira na dayon mag-involve ang commotion sa duha. The next stage in the cycle of violence is the violent incident. The violence may be short-lived or last for a few days. The police are notified or legal proceedings begun. So, diri na dayon mag-proceed ang legal proceedings, kay na-notified na ang mga police nga there are nanay nahitabo sa inyuhang between sa inyuhang tension sa you and your pair. So, mag-action na dayon ang police kung unsa ilahang dapat buhaton, ana. So, then, here comes the next honeymoon or loving condition. During this time, the abuser is often very loving and remorseful. Promises are made by the batterer that he will not violently abuse the woman again. So, diri na dayon ng mga bulala dayon sa mga lalaki nga dili na daw nila bahaton utro sa babae ang pangulata sa ilang asawa. More on promises but meant to be broken. So, that's developed by Lenore Walker. So, next is postpartum stress syndrome and postpartum psychosis. So, sa issue bitaw ni Kylie Padilla and Alger Abranica, some people, daghan kayog mga speculations, daghan kayog mga intriga about sa ilaha, but then wala sila kabalo kung unsay nahitabo gyud sa ilahang duha. And then nagpagawas og statement si Kylie Padilla nga he was diagnosed with postpartum stress syndrome. Usually gini siya ma-feel gini siya after pagpanganak. So, siguro wala na nga kasabot ang mga tao ani nga naadi ay ingani nga certain syndrome nga ka-depressed day ang mga mama after nila manganak. After mabughat sila because mixed emotions na ang ilahang batian. Dili sila ka-control sa ilahang emotions or something nga naka-trigger sa ilahang self-emotional reaction which fails between baby blues and postpartum depression. So, mo to ang one of the example of this postpartum stress syndrome nga because of that, nag-lead dayon sa ilahang away and then become social controversial dayon nga daghan na kay tabo, daghan na din kay involved nga mga tao because of that certain. So, postpartum psychosis is caused by multiple factors and it is uncommon with only 1 in 1,000 women developing this postpartum psychosis within a few days after childbirth. So, after gihapon ni siya sa pagpanganak, it can dramatically affect everyone involved. So, this was developed by Michael Finkelstein.